All right, we are on. This is Q&A is from Instagram. I put a story out like a week ago and I didn't answer any of them. So I actually screenshotted them. So I'm going to look through all of them and answer what I can. I'm already not liking some of these questions, um, but I'll do my best. And I'll keep these anonymous because I didn't really mention if you wanted them to be your name to be said or not. Somebody said, favorite Bible verse and why? I do not like that question, just like I don't like when people ask, "What's your favorite movie?" or "What's your favorite this or that?" I'm like, well, I like different things about different Bible verses and different movies, and so I'm not gonna answer that one, but somebody says, "What do you think about when you're passing?" I guess the goal is to not think. Maybe if the serve is, like, really tough, I'll think, start a little deeper, get my hands out a little bit earlier, lean forward, don't pop up. I'll just be a little bit more locked in. So he said, next summer, I would really like to see you play the Vancouver Open in Canada. I've actually been invited to play that tournament. Like for the past 3 years, somebody's asked me to go out there, and it's just never worked out with my schedule. I feel like there's always another tournament that weekend, and it's kind of expensive to go there for no points. And I guess maybe there's a little bit of money in that. It's a tough tournament to get out to, I think, with the timing and everything. What do you think your opponents think are your weaknesses? Oh, that's actually a good question. Um, I mean, probably my size, like attacking, I think is my weakness. I mean, I'm not that big. I'm only 5'11". Um, yeah, sure, I might have a 38, 40-inch vert, whatever. But when you're going against somebody who's 6'10" and really good, I mean, most people don't really give me a problem, but I think that's what people think is my biggest weakness. And I think it's what I work on the most. I really think my defense is not very good, but people think I'm good at defense for some reason. Any plans to move back to indoor slash look for a pro club to play in the future? No, definitely not wanting to play indoor. It's just too painful, too difficult. I would have to play libero if I'm trying to play at the highest level. Like if I want to play Olympics or professionally, I'd probably have to play libero, or I would have to kill my body hitting and just like work out way too hard and just max jump every time as a small guy, and then the odds are just very low. So definitely not wanting to play indoor. Also, I've the past 3 years that I've played indoor, I've sprained my ankle, and that's really not fun. How should a normal practice be formatted? Also, how do you know you're doing the correct cutoff? I'm assuming correct drills. Um, so typically the way I structure practice is you want to start with skills and then work more towards game-like situations. So you're starting off as simple as possible, um, minimizing the variables, minimizing the amount of things that you need to think about, and then um, increasingly make it more complex to where at the end of the practice, you're doing like near game-like situations, like almost playing pretty much a game. Um, you also want to think about how tired you're going to get. So like you don't want to do all the most exhausting drills all at once, right? Um, so like the way I would do it ideally is start light physically and then kind of increase it to like the most physically exhausting like halfway through, and then go back to light stuff, and then at the end you're like going as hard as you can. Um, but it's kind of tough to do both, have like start simple skills, end on game like, while having that progression to as hard as you can go, and then going back to not as hard, and then go back to hard. It's not easy to structure practices. Um, how are you so good at volleyball? I don't think that all the time. I don't think I'm that good at volleyball a lot. What aspects? But thank you, thank you. what aspect about the other team were you most nervous about, and how well did you deal? Okay, so I guess the questions I was asking for are like post-game interview questions. Um, but I guess what I'm thinking about the most against teams is their blocking. Like, is this blocker really good? Because, like I said, I think I struggle the most with hitting. So, yeah, if they have a good blocker, I'm really thinking about like, okay, what kind of moves are they going to be making? Do they have a lot of size? Like, could I hit over him? Is he pressing? Defenders usually, I mean, I'm just assuming every defender is good enough to where if you hit it right at him, they're going to get the dig. And then if your approach is good, they won't really be able to read your shots. I'm also thinking about like, okay, is this team gonna do a lot of fours and threes, a lot of fakes in defense because you don't really want to shoot if they're gonna be just like jumping around a bunch and giving calls are I mean, they're useless. We'll say giving calls like the high line cut shot stuff. Like I think that's a complete waste of time. My coach thinks differently. Other people think differently, but I think it's just a complete waste of time, especially these days with all the fours and threes. And if you don't know what that is, maybe comment in the chat and I'll try to explain it. Um, who was your favorite teammate at Masters? Okay, this is Isaac Zelser asking this. I really liked Isaac. I liked you, Isaac, because it was really fun to block you every day in practice. And then especially after you talking so much trash in your recruiting visit and then being able to stuff you every single time. That was a great feeling. So I think you might be my favorite player because of that. Um, somebody said, "How do you keep your energy up during long tournaments?" Yeah, that's a good question. So like, there's physical exhaustion from like the games aren't too tiring. Like I'm usually not like tired after a game. Sometimes, but rarely. Volleyball's, I think, I mean, it's not an easy sport, but the games aren't too difficult. Maybe a long rally, I'm tired. Um, I think the best way is conditioning because it's usually like day 2 or day 3 at the end when your legs just kind of start going out. And the way to combat that, which I haven't figured out fully, but I'm hopefully this off season I can get in the gym, put some mass on these legs, put some muscle on these legs to where I have the muscle mass to where I could last longer, jump more times. Because you need to have a balance of like max strength, but then also stamina, endurance. Um, and if you have both, then you'll be able to last long in the tournament. But other than that, after every match, I try to get out of there, get out of the venue, get away from the people, get out of the sun. Maybe I'll say hi to people really quick, but then I'll get in the AC, go to Starbucks usually, debrief, lay down, and that helps a lot mentally, also physically, but mentally it helps so much. And it's something I learned the hard way after Denver AVP, my first AVP tournament ever. I was just hanging out at the venue all day, even though I was in the shade, but just that little bit of noise from the music and the people, and it was just a little bit hot. Um, that kind of screwed me over for our last match. We ended up losing. Somebody says, no questions, just proud of you for being the light in this dark world and praising God's name. Amen. Thank you so much. God bless you. Somebody says, what does pre-tourney prep look like during the week? This is the last question, but yeah, it depends on how deep in the season I am. Like, if I'm pretty tired, I won't practice too much, but I'll do maybe one like skill practice and then 1 or 2 practice matches. This year's been all over the place because I've been playing with different people. So what we've had to do is drive up to Hermosa or have them come down here and just try to get as many game-like reps as possible. Maybe one day we'll really just talk about like our system and all that stuff. But and then we'll just do practice matches. But ideally, you want to take the day off before the tournament. Try to start getting hydrated a few days before the tournament. I'll still lift a little bit. I don't do legs more than once a week if I'm in season. Still do upper body. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, just a little bit lighter, a little bit shorter practices. Try not to practice every day. You just can't when you're playing a tournament. If you're playing a tournament every week, every weekend, 2 or 3 days, all day, like you need some time to rest. You just can't sustain a whole season doing that. Yeah, that's all we got for that. If you have any questions or want to ask me something or want me to talk about something, just let me know. Message me on Instagram, on YouTube, and I'll try to be as helpful as possible. I think I have a lot in here, a lot to say about the game, a lot to say about life, but sometimes I just need the question to get it out of me. So stay tuned. I'm working on a couple videos. Masters, we just had an alumni game. It was first alumni game ever. So we got a bunch of players that I hadn't seen in a while, but who haven't actually played in a while. Played our alumni game against the current team, and then we had a little dinner after. I did some interviews. That was fun. And I'm working on a vlog that I recorded in Denver, and then also on my way to Wisconsin. Not the best recorded vlog, but I think it's interesting. We did some cool things. Had a pit stop in North Dakota where we had some fun over there. So I'm working on these videos, some vlog type stuff, which I want to play around with and see how it goes. I just ran into some kids from Masters, young guys, freshmen from Masters, that they said they watched my videos and loved like the volleyball games. And I mean, I just posted the FIVB matches, which, I mean, the reason I did that was because most of us have never really been able to watch teams of this caliber from that angle, from the courtside angle, from the end line, like the World Volleyball, VBTV, whatever, they record the games from so high, and it's so hard to see what these players are doing. It's like not even worth watching half the time. So I just recorded those literally just so you guys can see like high level volleyball, and I kind of as a service to you, but please don't expect me to be doing this a ton. I'm going to record my matches sometimes, but I'm definitely not going to be making this a volleyball media channel to where I just record all the top players in the world. But if I end up playing them, you might be able to see them. But if that's what you're expecting from me, please change your expectations. I'll try to help out when I can, but that's not me. So anyway, God bless.